Hey guys, it's Bree. Welcome to A Dose of Breality. Today is Wednesday, so as promised, it is Wisdom Wednesday. And today I'm going to have for you a double dose of wisdom. So starting off, we are just going to do a nice little relaxed but informative video that I was supposed to do last night, but MG was just kicking my butt, which is ironic because I was requested that I do a video kind of an all-encompassing what is MG kind of video. So I'm doing a video that is what about MG. So this is, you know, I did do some extra research. I mean, I wanted to make sure that I had all my terms down and everything. Obviously I have it, I know a lot about it, but I wanted to make sure that I had sources that I could cite for you guys that if you want to go on and read further, they'll be down in the description box. But I've rambled on long enough that let's just get into this, because you guys know that I was not, you know, graced with the gift of conciseness. I was gifted with the gift of gab, so this could get a little long, so I apologize. But if you'd like to see part 2 of this, it will be my, you know, experience with MG, and that will be my all-encompassing. So right now I do have notes in my little gold digger notebook here, so I'm just gonna go along here. So what is MG? MG, myasthenia gravis. The first known case of MG was in 1672. I couldn't find who, I couldn't find where. They did not officially name MG, myasthenia gravis. They didn't give it a name until the 1880s. Myasthenia gravis literally translates from the Latin to mean grave muscle weakness. And it is characterized largely by fluctuation in weakness of the muscle groups. So the muscle groups being those of the face, neck, eyes, and the limbs, so your arms and your legs. It can affect partial paralysis of your eyes and your eye movements, drooping eyelids, double vision, weakness of your neck and your jaw, difficulty with chewing and swallowing. Can also have breathing difficulty and difficulty holding your head and neck straight. The weakness does get worse and progresses with exertion, but it improves with periods of rest. So I've mentioned that before. In the United States, the prevalence of myasthenia gravis is 20 in 100,000 individuals. So nobody can tell me that I am not rare. I do not know statistics in any other country, but United States prevalence is 20 in 100,000. Likely, though, that myasthenia gravis is underdiagnosed, so the prevalence is actually probably higher than that. And myasthenia gravis affects all races, it affects both genders, and it can affect any age group. Although it is slightly more likely to occur in women than in men, and it occurs younger in women than it occurs in men. The median age for women is, onset-wise, is about 28, and the median age of onset for men is about 42. In terms of what kind of brings on or triggers MG, it is not thought to be directly inherited. So for an example, myself, because I have MG, it is not a guarantee that, you know, my child or grandchild or, you know, down the line is going to have MG. There is some genetic susceptibility component to it, as there is with, you know, all other autoimmune type conditions, and it's not contagious. You know, someone I walk up to is not going to be able to contract MG from me. It is thought that some type of virus or bacteria exposure could trigger the autoimmune reaction that brings on MG, but that's just what researchers are hypothesizing at this point in time. Along with the statistics I gave on women and men, about 10% of MG cases begin in childhood. With those cases that begin in childhood, they tend to typically progress more slowly, and they usually have higher rates of remission and longer periods of remissions. So that puts it into some perspective for you. How MG works. So this is where a little bit of science comes in, and I'm a science nerd, so I enjoy this part a lot. Your muscles are controlled by your nerves that start in your brain, hence neuromuscular and autoimmune. So the impulses, your nerve cells and your muscle cells meet at the synaptic gap. The nerve impulses do not actually physically touch because there's a gap between the two. So what happens is when the nerve impulse reaches the end of the nerve cell, it sends out a chemical, a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine, that is then to travel over to this side of the synaptic gap, the muscle cell. So acetylcholine fits like a lock in a key, or a key in a lock. I know what I'm saying. You guys do too, I hope. So it fits just like a lock to a key. It fits just like a key to a lock into that receptor. Now, your muscles can only contract when enough receptor sites are activated. And in MG cases, it states that about 80% there can be about an 80% reduction in receptor sites. So that's huge in that people cannot move their muscles then. What causes the reduction in these receptor sites are antibodies that the immune system produces. The immune system produces antibodies in response to foreign bodies, things like viruses and bacteria. You know, you come in contact with the cold virus, you come in contact with the flu, you know, any number of things, strep throat, any number of things really, and your body will fight that. Your immune system will fight that. In someone with an autoimmune condition, your body is producing antibodies against things that are not foreign. So in somebody with MG, it's producing antibodies that are then attacking these receptor sites for acetylcholine and actually damaging these receptor sites so that the acetylcholine can no longer bind to the receptor sites and activate them to tell the muscles to contract. Weakness occurs then when not enough receptor sites can be activated. MG is treatable with medication, of course, to suppress the immune system, or there are other kind of medications too. The medication that I take is not an immunosuppressive medication. It doesn't suppress my immune system, so to speak, but what it does is does not allow the acetylcholine to be absorbed as quickly. So the acetylcholine just kind of floats out there in the synaptic gap between the two, you know, the nerve and the muscle receptors, and it just floats out there so that it allows my muscles to absorb it a little bit more. So it kind of helps in that aspect, because what starts to happen is if your body if it can't bind to the receptor sites, then your body reabsorbs it. Immunosuppressive medications stop your body from producing the antibodies that would attack the receptors. Surgery often is needed to remove the thymus gland. The thymus gland, I missed this part. The thymus gland, it plays a role in the development of MG in certain individuals. If there is a tumor present or some type of cyst present on there, or if it's enlarged for any reason, they would have to go in and remove that, and a lot of the symptoms could be reduced by removing the thymus gland and doing that surgery. Most people with myasthenia gravis will lead active, productive lives, and they will see remission at some point. They will most likely need to be on medications and things like that, but it does take time. So that's what I came up with for you guys as my all-encompassing video on what is MG, and I hope I didn't stumble through it too much. I hope it was informative, and again, I will leave all of the links for the information that I used, and for other information, I'll link the MGFA and everything down below if you'd like to check that out. But that's it for part 1. I hope you guys stick around for part 2 so you guys can hear kind of a more all-encompassing my experience with MG for part 2. I know I've been doing little vlogs here and there and you're getting bits and pieces of my life, but if you'd like to see part 2, I would love for you guys to be here for part 2. So part 2 will go up a little bit later this evening. So I will see you guys soon. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, never miss a dose of reality ever again. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, Bree51687. I would love to interact with you in those ways. Don't forget the Dose of Reality Facebook page for some more fun. And again, I'll be back for part 2 later tonight. If that's not your thing, then I will see you with a vlog tomorrow. Bye, guys.